Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for taking time from your busy lives to catch up on things. I think I'll leave all this here. I have a clicker, the green. So, I was thinking on the way over, passing the St. Francis Garden. That was on our list last year of a priority to get that done. And they were doing the final touches. It should be really beautiful if we get a little rain here soon. It's interesting how life works. It rained too much last fall, they got slowed down. And then they got slowed down further. Remember this spring it rained about every day and night? And so now it's dry, but we're getting things in order. And so many things happened since we did a State of the University address last year. We're very blessed. You'll recognize some themes today. They're in our Strategic 2025 plan. And so I just want to give you a little update. But the themes are remaining the same. Growth is through all of this plan, and the updates are about growth. A few places we stubbed our toe because we're human and things don't always go swimmingly well, but we're doing pretty well, aren't we? These front row guys are always the smartest. You always want to make the front row guys your friends. And, well, it's generic. We don't need smart Alex here, Sister Mary Beth. Gosh, just trying to get started here. Yes, and girls. So, growth is the theme. Remember why. You don't grow just to grow. When we set out and did some research for our 2025 plan, we gave a lot of thought and prayer of who we are, where we come from. And when there's been a need in the world, our foundresses were very clear, if you see a need, have the courage to get moving and fill it. So what is the need? If you look at central Indiana, it's a pretty booming place. The key to our future growth, and all key indicators would say the key would be in human talent, especially in the professions, right? Teaching, big need. Principals, big need. Nurses, mammoth need. Healthcare, physicians, big need. Businesses need talent to grow, build up jobs and wages. Big need. When we interviewed people, they said we don't only need people. Matter of fact, we do not need warm bodies to carry along. We need leaders. We spend a lot of time, what is a leader? How do we participate in it? Why do we want to grow? Leadership. The other themes that you'll see very clearly, in this environment, if you read the tea leaves, higher education isn't exactly as well loved and held in high esteem like it has been in the past. People are questioning us. Don't take it personal. It's the whole sector. I would say we're a little better off within the sector, and I'll show you why. But higher ed's are very expensive. People are wondering about the value. They're wondering about its values for a lot of different reasons. Some people think higher ed's rather narrow-minded. Some people look at the scandals around the country in higher ed where you buy your kid a seat for about $1 million, or your athletic program goes out of whack, or people who are supposed to be professionals are really abusing people. So there's just a lot of, if you study the news reports, it's not real pretty. People getting excessive debt with jobs that they can never hope to pay it, a lot of dropouts. If you went to our professional development in-service over at St. Joe's Chapel, over in our new St. Joseph's College, and you saw our presenter, you know, the tattoo professor, did you see him? Did you see the statistics about how many minority children, they're not children, young adults, low-income students are not graduating? They don't go to college, or if they do, they stay a little while, it's not relevant, it's not welcoming, and they're leaving. Well, that's not very good. We can't have that. So, the themes are growth. The things are growth through excellence, quality, distinctiveness, mission-driven activity. If you do those things, if we are distinctive, if we stand apart, if we're willing to be accountable for outcomes, it's actually quite a great environment to operate a great Catholic university, because education's never been more valuable. Think of a time when education was ever been more valuable. Think of a time when trustworthy leaders would be more cherished in our society. Think about that. We've set ourselves out on this mission to do it. We can make a mammoth difference in the world. We are making a difference. And so I'm going to give you a little update on progress and take questions. First thing I think we should do is just reflect for a moment on this. In 2017, Marian University was measured against a new category of universities, regional doctoral universities. Okay? And when you move categories from four-year colleges, religious primary four-year colleges, you usually kind of start towards the bottom, and over 10 years or so, you inch your way forward. Well, by the way, you might say, I don't care about U.S. News and Report. I think I found myself saying that a few times over the years, depending on the news I got. Okay? So I don't care about report cards when I get a bad one, right? Well, Dad, I don't like that subject. Well, it didn't work so well in my house. But anyway, that's not one I really care about. Well, I care about all of them, son. Anyway, really, there was a great group. Mark Apple and Dr. Silva had a group of academics and staff, and Brooke Kyle did most of the data. And I wanted a report. I said, let's get a report on the various rating services and see how they in detail rate you. And if there's a number of them are good. I think I noticed Wall Street Journal's just rated what? How many were in that rating they had? Hundreds of colleges were up, I think, in the top 10 or 15%. I don't know what their criteria is. But our group that studied this said U.S. News and Report has substantive ways in which they rate you, and the ways they rate universities are the things we care most about. So where do you get most of your points in U.S. News and World Report? It's retention, graduation rates, and how you do with students, for instance, that are a group of Pell Grant students. You get bonus points for doing a good job with people who traditionally aren't doing well in college. The good news is we're really putting our heads above others in this regard. And if you want to be proud of your university, it's really great to see people succeed. But if you can help people succeed that in many other environments aren't doing worth a darn, you should be particularly proud of your efforts. Because it's obviously not easy. That means it's a welcoming place, it's excellent instruction, we're supporting people. I think of my friend down here in the far right, what he does for student athletes, keeping them in the game, paying attention. I think about our 21st Century Scholar Program. So when you look at traditional groups of students, minority, lower income students, et cetera, generally you've seen our retention go up, haven't you? But we're doing particularly well with pockets of students other people aren't being so good with. That makes you pretty happy. And so when I see, when there's 150 regional universities, 12 states, and by the way, your innovation score comes from various things, but one of the biggest places it comes from, every president and provost gets to rate other universities on their innovativeness, etc. It's obviously other leaders are watching what we're doing and believe in the Marian miracle. Isn't that nice? That's very affirming. Best value, what do students actually pay in net tuition? Vis-a-vis, do they all get jobs? Vis-a-vis, in a reasonable amount of time. So really, if you wanted to be at two top things in this environment, you want to be innovative and you want to be a good value. And it's not bad, really, since 17 to be already in the top 20%. I won't want to relax on that, nor will you. But we know how to keep driving up our placement in U.S. News and World based on things we care about. It's always important to note your biggest competitor is yourself. Other competitors are a blessing because they make you want to do better. We have to remind sometimes our student athletes, the opponents are not your enemies. So like when I say beat them, bust them, that's our custom, that's not the nicest thing. But I do think that. So anyway, I just want to start with this is really good news. Because these are prestigious universities. Okay? The framework, we have a series every year. This will be hard to see from the back. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it, I think. Yeah, that works. Okay. So you try to categorize things in your mind as a teacher and a learner. When you look at a university, you try to see a framework. This really explains what we're doing here at Marion. We have a clear vision when we established the idea that we wanted to graduate transformational leaders. Think of 3 pillars. This is organic. We want to get growth in our organic, in enrollment and efficacy of everything we've been doing. So continuous improvement in every program, every curriculum. Dr. Silva shared an idea with me. You're either continuously improving your programs and curriculum, or you're in decline. If you're not getting better in a changing environment, you're falling behind. The world's changing fast. And the needs of our students are changing. You're either continuously improving or falling behind. So if you say, well, I've taught this for 5 years, I know what I'm doing. I don't doubt you do. Is it the best thing for the times? Look at your enrollment and see, etc. And then there's this space here where the Strategic Plan 2025 asks for new plans, new programs, and we're launching them. And then this one is, I think of, some of you were here together in 2007, 2008. We decided to not be Marion College, and we'd go be Marion University. We were going to build a great Catholic university in a great American city. People said, well, we don't know how to do that. You can't do that. We don't have the resources, blah, blah, blah. And some were hopeful, and some were everything in between. But we did, I go back and study some of the documents we wrote of what a university, why a city like Indianapolis could use a great university and what a difference it would make. And now here we are. If you think back, look at the radical change in our income, in our balance sheet, in our academic quality, who we're compared to, what kind of students we get, the great faculty we've been able to attract, the new programs, the new buildings, our place in making the world better. That was a big 10-year jaunt, and we couldn't see it all. It's just like when the sisters came over from Europe to Oldenburg, Indiana. They could have never dreamt all this. But you have the courage to venture, don't you? So I often think of these folks that move us along here, the explorers and courageous adventurers, and these are the defenders and fortifiers. If I teach English today and do it extremely well, I'm defending our reputation. I'm fortifying our brand. I'm making our education better. And then, of course, I'll talk a little bit about this. All these pillars and this vision are built on these 4: Catholic and Franciscan values, liberal arts-based education, excellence in teaching and learning, and a comprehensive approach to student. We always focus on student success. We always ask, what are you made of? Well, this is what we're made of. I advanced this from the time I rearranged those letters to SHI, but anyway. So we're going to say this is what we're made of, okay? The T is for trustworthy, ethical people. The, of course, healthy individuals, spiritually, physically, mentally, etc., healthy. The I is inquisitive, always trying to think, how can I better serve? How can we better create? How can we better innovate? How can we be better at what we do, like a professional would do? And the S is for skilled. So this is what we're made of, transformational leadership. That's our vision. Keep pushing it. It's hard. It's easy to say, it's very hard to do. We want to achieve this on 3 levels. It's been very clear as I've worked with other leaders and the board and people in the community, and if you look at documents and study other Catholic universities, there is a distinctive quality at a Catholic university. Of course, we want our graduates to be leaders. A lot of colleges and universities are being driven, and by the way, the more they do it, the further in decline the sector goes, as a mere utility to make more money. I'm all for our students getting jobs, and I want them to make a living. But a college education, any education, but particularly at a Catholic university, has never been thought of as a private good. It's a good for you, it's a good, has a larger purpose. Those larger purposes, we should be transformational institution on 3 levels. Certainly our graduates. When we talk to employers or med schools or wherever they go on, were they leaders or laggards or stand around watchers? We want them to elevate professions. So when you get someone out of the Klipsch College, do they make the school better? Do people do a better job? Are they the teachers that set the pace? Are they pace setters or just one of the gang? In their skills, in their inquisitiveness, in their compassion, in their trustworthy and ethics? Are they healthy people that can carry the load and elevate the profession? And then what does this university do in terms of advancing the common good? That's a transformational leadership institution. If there's people living on the margins, what are we doing to pull them in? If there's people with power and authority and have a poor understanding of the purpose of life and ethical behavior, etc., what are we doing to challenge their thinking, to form them differently, to do something bigger? I'm proud of being part of Marian for a lot of reasons, but we have a larger purpose. We have a larger purpose. I would never invite new students here and say, come here, we'll help you make more money. Again, I'm not against it. I like people to have employment. We don't want them in people's basement, but it's much bigger than that here at Marian. The health profession needs to change. The common good needs to be advanced. I want to talk a little bit about our foundational values here. There's a lot of things that will change. Change, move with technology and the times. This is where we'll always be grounded. Whatever pillars we build, whatever vision we chase, first and foremost, we're a Catholic and Franciscan institution. Believer or not, Jesus Christ had a very powerful message. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. Now that's kind of a big challenge, because some of you are just easier to love than others, right? And I'm sure there's days you say the same about me. But and some of our students, we tend to love you all, but some days it's harder. So anyway, that gives us a big challenge. That gives us a big challenge, and it's not always easy. But it's fundamental in our outlook about what the qualities of the institution should be, our relationships, how we form community, and how we serve. A liberal arts-based education, when I talk about a leader that's inquisitive, I can't imagine accomplishing that in a narrow curriculum. It's got to be a rich curriculum that challenges. I was talking to a student, I wanted a half turkey sandwich, and I got in a discussion on epistemology. How do we know, and what do we know, and when do we know it, and why is that important? It was kind of fun, but I had to get back to work. Then there was, I had to prepare this. Then there's excellence in teaching and learning. Anytime teaching becomes a commodity here, we're in big trouble. We can't charge for commodity here. We're a private university. We have to have a larger purpose, excellent preparation, delivered with passion and the best state-of-art curriculum and delivery, in education. Teaching and learning can never be a commodity here. We're built off of excellence that it makes a difference. We're a student-focused institution. The day we take our eyes off of that, our foundation will be weak. We can't build the pillars. Every day, prayerfully reflect on those 4 foundational elements. Real quickly, I'm going to go through a few things. Could I put everything that we're doing? No, but I want to give you, we had a series of retreats and meetings to update the plan this summer and look forward. We had a great board retreat last week. We have an excellent board, by the way. This year, what have we focused on? Prayer. And I would encourage you every day to prayerfully reflect on our values in this regard. Really, there's 5 things to think about. What is your calling here at Marion? What are your gifts and talents and how you're called to use them? 2, how can I be more joyful in my service? 3, how can I always be humble in my service? We have a lot of PhDs and egos and titles around here. They don't matter. It's one community. What matters is to show our students what a good leader, how a good leader serves with humility. I would consider our values and how do you take and consecrate or make a deep commitment to your profession in this privileged place we hold. I'm not sure we always realize how privileged we are. In this country, educated, lit, air-conditioned, heated, well-fed place where you get to exchange ideas about the meaning of learning and not how to survive. It's a very privileged place. How do we stay committed to understanding that? And the 5th thing I want to encourage you as you pray is find the sacred in each other and in the work you do. Find the sacred in learning. Now, you always use those prayers against our values. We know them well. Dignity of each person, responsible stewardship, peace and justice, and reconciliation. But the sisters, we often talk about 4 values, and it's really a mistake. There's 5, and we're concentrated on prayer this year. And I hope that little background is of some help to you. The other thing I should give a little progress. Did you know we have in the Marion first-time, full-time, not also the St. Joe was very diverse, but for the first time, at least I know of, we have 11.3 or 4% Latino students in our freshman class. We're in double digits. Isn't that great? A lot of people worked on it, but I think just from paying attention and our concentration on the 21st Century Scholar Program, etc. Great reputation in the Klipsch College. Can you imagine having a greater diversity out in our teaching force in our schools, the difference we're making? That's a big deal. But you know some of the things we're working on. Some of the things that are in the 2025 plan we're really pushing. The Latino Initiative, we'll have an executive director soon. And we're really trying to raise the Latino educational attainment in the whole county, in the whole central Indiana. Many of them will come here, certainly. But we want to be good mentors, hire more people that are bilingual and culturally sensitive and aware, and we're going to make great progress in that. 314 program is, of course, faculty staff formation, deeper integration and mission in the recruitment and development of faculty staff. We got the San Damiano program and missionary disciples is growing, and we need to raise more money for the scholarships because that was part of the deal. This Walker Center for Applied Ethics is going to be a mammoth deal here at Marion and in the community and in the research they'll do. We have terrific partners. We were at Lilly last week with the other ethics and compliance officers from all the large corporations. And we're just kind of in a big leadership position on that, which is really, if you want to be a transformational university, transformational leadership university, ethics will be the key. You look all over, whether it's technology, higher ed, healthcare, education, government, goodness gracious. Look at the need for a better sense and understanding of ethics. Big deal. St. Joe Indy has to keep moving. That's a great concept. It's a great project. I've met every student, which was a distinct pleasure, by the way, over there. That could be an unbelievable influence in our community and for the individual students there. But that's a project. It's a heavy lift, but it's worthwhile. We can sit on the sideline and say, someone else do it. We're creating other options for students who want to go to two-year college, and it's a high-quality option. This is kind of a key one. Adam and his team talked about it. At large universities and public universities, they'll tend to have Newman centers or other religious around the buildings and activities around the periphery of a campus. At a Catholic university, sometimes the campus ministry staff will be a little bit isolated, even though they're in the middle geographically of the campus. Adam and his team want to more and more infuse campus ministry involvement in all of our regular activities to make it more a part of everything we're doing. We think that'll make a big difference. Some of the things that have come up that we want to, if we look out to 2029, we'd like to at least explore an Institute for Family, Center for Church Leadership. We already have the starts of with the Sondom and seminary, etc. I really like this one, a Center for Fruitful Dialogue that would promote approaches and skills related to productive discourse on challenging social, religious, and political, cultural, and economic topics. We don't need that. Everybody gets along so well in our country these days. Capitalism's being questioned by a lot of people. What's really being questioned, I suspect, inside of that, which would be questioned in socialism or any other system, is how ethical and good are the people involved in it, right? So those are just some things that might be on the horizon. The leadership vision, of course, one good thing that happened, we have Ellen Witt, now the vice president, kind of helping us put that together. The faculty that put together the curriculum, I'm on academic excellence, I'm not on leadership. Academic excellence, the core program, let me get on the right page here. Academic excellence, I already talked about U.S. News and World Report. I could also talk about, and I should get my cheat sheet on this because I don't want to miss anybody, but we had some good stats with U.S. News and World, but I enjoyed, I'll tell you one I just kind of enjoyed it. I was flipping channels, and I came upon the Minnesota Vikings, not because Alan Silva's from Minnesota, but I just stopped for a moment, and there he was, Brandon Dillon, one of our students. So I was real excited. I wanted to see how he did in school. So I checked. He had a 3.5 average at Marian University in business. He makes a 53-man roster in professional football and is on national TV playing football. I got a kick out of that. Now, that might not be the most important thing, but in terms of the football deal, but just think where our students go. So you have Mary Carper and Emily Neese, both out as Fulbright scholars. That's pretty cool. Kylie Casper is an Orr Fellow. A number of our graduates last year are in med school, correct? I see them all the time. And they're in other med schools and law schools and all sorts of neat things around the country. I tell you in terms of, and the research projects. Last week the students did, a number of students were in the board luncheon and presented their research with, and it was just so impressive. The professors and the students and their enthusiasm and their values, it was a whole nother world, high quality work that was just wonderful. So we're going to keep working on faculty staff development. Liz is doing a great job with SECA. Measure and achieve curricular leadership outcomes. We had the faculty write a curriculum outcomes that we want from our leadership program. The exchange here on campus is a differentiator, something makes us distinguished. We got to keep taking that to higher levels, and we will. And it's been a great development from right away, and there's a lot of good research on this. Give students purposes, experiences, and material they need to build a great resume and a value proposition for the world, and they'll make a bigger difference for themselves and others. Moving the needle 2.0, big deal. That's one reason we're climbing in the rankings against other institutions. We're doing a better job with our students. This is very important. That's why we're here. And that team that works on that, Jennifer Plumley, and of course Ruth, was always quick to say, oh, it's everybody else. We appreciate Ruth's leadership and everybody that's been involved in that. That's making a big difference. And we'll keep folks in. We've been hiring great faculty to come in here. You need that. The doctorate in leadership, it's not public, but we did just get our note that you're not supposed to say anything. But we are going to have an educational doctorate in October. They'll vote on it at the board meeting. That's a big deal, thanks to Jeffs and all the people that put that together. So that's another doctoral program for Marion, another movement forward. That'll be great for education, but eventually you can have a concentration in healthcare, government, business. Great opportunities given our leadership vision. That's going to be a big deal for us. Really big. Really, really big. So then you got a big STEM plan. We worked hard on it. We have it broken down into power goals. Dr. Silver's going to lead the committee. Dr. Sefcik's going to take a big piece. Dr. Berchacci. There's going to be quite a pipeline in the STEM education area. Dr. Merle and Roski are going to work, those two are going to work on the technology and some things with computer science. We've got to go not only with majors and concentrations, etc., in science and technology engineering, but we're going to have to see, if you want to educate transformational leaders, the use of data, understanding technology and its influence on how you do, I don't care what, you just name it. How you teach, how you heal, how you do sociology, psychology, social work, how you communicate and understand various populations. We cannot graduate people from this institution, so it's got to be a horizontal influence, STEM, and a vertical one with majors. It's going to cause all of us to think about data analytics, how you use data, ethics around data, how you use technology, ethics around technology. It influences everything we do. And artificial intelligence and all that's coming at us, folks, if we want to be out in the cutting edge, we got to wake up big time and get there fast. And Dr. Silva and the crew will do it. The national prominence of the Eclipse Educators College is moving along beautifully. That's a great project for us, and they're doing great work. And that has to keep going. Dr. Roski with the business school, we see great opportunity in the business school in this community. We have a number of wonderful faculty, a number of wonderful graduates, a new building, and you're going to see that really move forward. Research across the curriculum, whether it's a doctoral student to a bachelor student, across every field. One of the interesting presentations was interprofessional education research, healthcare interprofessional cooperation research. Very interesting at last week. So we're doing research in a lot of areas. We're going to get some focus and make a difference. Active learning strategies, community engaged learning has to keep moving. We're going to keep looking for graduate degrees that are in big demand. One of the big growth areas, whoops, can I back up with this thing? I think I can. One of the big growth areas we want to consider, and we are considering, and we're talking to partners, we're doing analysis, is online education. We serve 1,200 students online now, mostly in healthcare. What's the future there? In the Great Lakes region, we have flat enrollment growth, and this year in the Great Lakes region, flat population growth, and a lower percent of those students went to college. A lot of the education that's going to be needed going forward in a changing economy with technology and all is going to be people who are out of the 18 to 24-year-old range. They're going to be job changers. They're going to be challenged to get new training and do different things to stay employed and to be relevant in the modern economy. If we want to meet the needs of our times, we better figure out how to do, even for our traditional students, if we want to do outreach in K-12 schools with faculty or students, we're going to have to be very good at online education and make it personal, distinctive, and different. So we're going to move forward on that. How exactly, I can't tell you as I stand here, but that's a big part of our future. Not decreasing our on-ground campus for traditional students. Matter of fact, they'll feed one another. I'm certain of it. But we have to do it right. We're always doing, and we've done a little more research in some of these things than others, whether it's a veterinary school or an architecture or dentistry or some of these other things. A lot of joint venture ideas are coming forward with businesses, other colleges and universities. We already do some of that. You're going to see more of it. Some people have talked to us about coming and running their school of education with Eclipse College within their university. Or if they don't have a school of ed, to come run it there under our direction with our model. And vice versa. People are calling one another and creating new ideas. I won't go through them all, but in 2029, we're going to look different. You really could conceive the place of having more like 8,000 or 10,000 students when you count the online folks. It could very well happen if the vision's correct. It's going to be niche, it's going to be hybrid, it's going to be high quality. The mass producers of online education, cheap and easy, we don't want to compete in that market. Let them kill each other there. We're going to, like we do with our online nursing, we have good partners, we have high quality, high NCLEX pass rates, et cetera, et cetera. It works out well. To get in the cheap, crazy market, it would not be good for us. The leadership vision, now there's Ellen Witz in charge of that. We're moving forward on it. Nope, I'm in enrollment now. I want to do this leadership so bad it's killing me. I see the top line, and I'm obsessed with it. But forgive me. This is about enrollment. I'd say the biggest thing there is 83.3%. It's killing me, Ruth.
Yeah, you're doing great. Keep going.
Okay, keep going. See, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to bring up that means we did so well we should get a higher goal. So I promised her I wouldn't do it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to mention it. 83.3%. Of course, that beat what we were after. Mission-wise for the students, economically and academic standing, retention is a threefer. Your academic standing goes up, your mission is better served because the student sticks with college, and the financial model works much, much better because it really takes a lot of effort to get a student here. So up and down the line, we keep driving this retention, you're going to win, win, and win. It's a great thing to do. So our enrollment goals in most programs are off though. And we have a lot of challenges in arts and sciences. We have to get enrollments up. It's not a drastic off the cliff type of thing. It's little this, little there, little this, little there. We had a couple of programs in graduate that did pretty well. If you look at all the first-time, full-time students to Marion, counting St. Joe and our traditional, we're about where we were last year, which was a record. But we have pretty big growth, and we're making big investments. Remember, the theme is growth, so we're making the investments to grow. So it'll be real important that we have the quality program with outcomes, quality marketing and communications, quality admission process. And we'll do well. We're in a great city, we're in a great place, we have a great institution, but we're going to have to hit our numbers. We're going to have to do better there. We did the software implementation. I shouldn't say did it. We're well in progress on the whole thing, and that was a big accomplishment. Articulating our brand, I'm going to talk about that at the end. We'll bring that up at the end about our brand. We need this year to have a real big time focus. Meet and exceed our enrollment goals at St. Joe Indy, Eclipse Educators College, STEM. We're just getting started, but we're going to create real clear goals in pre-med and some of these other areas. We've said we're going to target in on that. Could we ever have too many pre-med students? Well, if you watch the national statistics, excellent students, a big percent want to go into medicine. When they get to college, some go into nursing, some go into public health, some go into, I want to be a professor. I'd rather be a PhD. Or some do this or some do that. But it's a good place to concentrate. We have a med school, our competitors don't. We have Don Sefcik, great faculty over there, great faculty and undergraduate. We can all work together here because we're on one piece of property. We can be really good. That's just one example where we're going to grow. San Damiano Scholars, we're going to grow that this year. The business school will grow and then grow some more as we go forward. We're going to build pipelines. We think it's going to be, the future is going to be working with K-12 schools. I don't know if you've heard about career and technical education. The state, most every state by the way, is really working on starting kids in high school thinking about career, gifts, talents, professions, and start to work on that as juniors, seniors in high school. We're going to have to be there on that. There's money for it. It's a priority. And Marion will have to be in the building the pipeline. The Walker Ethics Center will have a lot of enrollment consequences as we move along. We've got to get it rolling. We might do some programs even this spring out of there. So online delivery will be in our future. Bold new program. Build and support enrollment. If you have around 10,000 students someday, a lot of them online, we're going to need different and more infrastructure. And that'll be a big deal to think about by 2029. Leadership. This is the leadership goal. We have Ellen Witt. Ellen is the most famous person in the room today. So we've got to keep defining what that means at Marion. The reason it's a big challenge, and I've said it before, every university educates leaders. How do we make ours distinctive? How do we measure it? How do we select people to come to Marion that want to be leaders in government, business, education, etc.? And it doesn't mean a title. Don't get confused about titles. But they want to set a pace. So we're going to have to figure, always working on that. The measurement of leadership outcomes, how does it show up in your transcript? What's the Walker Center going to be in this? And then, of course, our doctoral program, as I said earlier, has just many possibilities in this dynamic city with partners. National recognition for educating leaders. I'd like to be laid alongside the military academies and other institutions that are really good at that. Okay, expanding resources. Well, we raised $24.4 million this year. That was pretty good, $2 million a month, a little over. And we want to stay there. We want to be between 20 and 30 to build up all the things we're doing. We're going to have, last year at this time, we had the housing crisis. We still have a mini one. We have people living in meeting rooms. I guess they were living rooms or whatever they were. But we're going to, we unveiled our new hall, and it's going to be beautiful. There'll be some iconic features of it in the middle of campus, and that'll help us immensely. And then we'll start remodeling Doyle, and we'll keep moving along. We keep putting in new systems, adding really great people. I was thinking we've added a lot of great professors, etc. this year. By the way, you know something, in addition to our students who graduated last year, we already have 15 students in this senior class that have applied to be OR fellows. We used to have no applications. Students are starting to pick up on the idea we can be Fulbright scholars. We can do these things from Marion, and it's really great. By the way, one of the things that we're really going back on our leadership, you're seeing a lot of great leadership training in our athletic department, challenging students on how to comport themselves, how to be good students, how to deal with failure as well as to being really successful. I didn't really mention that. But we have, really in this whole resource area, if you look down the list, we added some parking. You do have to cross the street. I know that's a little bit frustrating for some people. But we're making great progress, and we need to keep on doing that, and quality people. We need to keep improving our balance sheet. Today we got a big check. Greg Gender's pretty fancy footwork here, and his team. You really had a lot of people work on this. But we refinanced all of our bonds. You know, we have in the neighborhood of $100 million debt at Marion. And we refinanced them all. So think of your house payment. We reduced our house payment significantly, and we walked away with about 17 million more to spend on all the various things we want. By the way, it's pretty much already spent, so don't get excited. So, but we are improving our balance sheet. We're reducing our payments. The things that we have venture partners on, etc. We're buying them out, so it's better for everything. But we're really doing great, and I mean, it's just great work on. Greg's a great CFO and his team. The Forging Leader campaign, we'd really like to get to $150 million. We're about 130 now, or close? 120, 122. And so we'd like to drive that. If we could have a really good year and get to 150, next year we'd like to say, well, beans, we already hit our goal. Well, let's go for 250 million by 2025. All these great ideas of growing and better serving students is expensive. And we're going to need help. We're going to need people to invest in us. And so the resource thing is always going to be with us. We were really fortunate this year. All the different leaders we were able to attract and put in new positions here on campus. We have tremendous confidence in them. I would say of all of our resource that we're most in need of working together on, and that's the engagement of our talent in our university community. Students, staff, faculty, administration. We talked a little bit about community today. And we're asking your various departments, et cetera, to work, say, how could we better engage the people we work with every day? How do we create a better environment in our department, our area, et cetera? We're going to have an open forum to share those ideas, and we hope departments bring one or two ideas. How can we make this a place where all the talent is fully engaged? We have a big aspirational goals as a university our size. We have for years. Dr. Atlas one time said we know how to fight up a weight class. I always liked that. When you can get a lightweight going a heavyweight and get him down on the mat, that's exciting. But to do that, you have to have all the talent in the Marion community fully engaged in the effort. Spiritually, physically, intellectually, socially, positive attitude, connected. Most important ingredient we have here. Frankly, if you have that, the students will be happy and retain. If you have that, people want to invest in it. If you have that, people will be willing to pay tuition. If you have that, it's a fun life. So then you're not going to work and say, oh God, I have to face those people again. It's something we're doing together. It's noble, it's exciting, it's joy-filled. So I would ask you to really work on that. I also have a little favor to ask. Sometimes I'll go to meetings, and I restrain myself. It's hard. They'll say, I wish someone would tell us things around here. And every once in a while, it's something that was in it was in a glance this week, or in the campus ministry newsletter, or in the good newsletter. They'll say, I wish the hell administration would tell us stuff around here. Take 15 minutes a week and just kind of read that real quick and listen to your colleagues. Or even more important, in addition to your 15 minutes, could you share good news? I think sometimes people feel like, oh, folks don't even know all the great stuff we're doing. Well, let's tell one another. There is a process to do that. I know, Mark, you have a process. Deans know it. And we'll keep promoting those processes. But let's read the basic things that come out Sunday and Monday about what's going to happen, and look at our calendars of what's going to happen out, so we do some planning and support one another and show up and recognize students for their accomplishments. I know you're very, very busy people, and it's some work to it, but we have to take time. And the final thing, I often have students, whenever I can, I like to visit with students when they come to campus with their parents, and they're juniors or seniors and they're smiling. I always tell them, look, if you come here, it's going to be an investment of a part of your life, a lot of money, but I'll guarantee you 5 things. If you come here, you're going to be academically challenged, but don't worry, we're here to support you. I don't care if you're going for a doctoral degree or an associate's degree. We're in this together, but it's going to be challenging. I think that means I'm supposed to be quiet. But number 2, you're going to be an active learner. No sitting on the back bench watching the car go by. We're going to engage in the community, in this community, in your classroom, in the Indianapolis community, in the world. You're going to be active. 3, we will challenge you to consider a bigger purpose in life. We'll challenge you to consider deeply your faith, your purpose, your calling, how you're going to make a difference, how you're going to make a rich life out of this. 4, we'll teach your leadership skills. We'll teach you how to be a leader here if you pay attention and get involved. Number 5, this is mostly for parents. When you're all done, you will not apply for a job in your parents' basement. You will be professionally ready. You'll be ready to go to med school, take over a classroom, be by a sick patient's side in a hospital or wherever. You'll be able to heal people, teach people, lead people in business, serve people well, or go on to further studies, and you will be ready to take on those new studies, and you'll stand out. We've got to all know these 5 things about our brand, and you've got to be able to say them to people so it's pervasive. If you don't know them, we can give you cheat sheets on it. We have it in a little card, right, Mark? But why don't you practice them in your departments and with your deans and your colleagues and say, in your own way, out of your heart, this is the 5 things I'll guarantee if you come here. But you have to do your part. I always remind them now. If you sit idly by, it ain't going to go, right? You got to do your part. So, I wonder if you'll ever sit in front again. What's your name?
I'm Jack Adams.
Jack Adams is in front. Let's give him a hand. Any questions, Jack? I'll give you the first question.
Is anthropology on the table for a future major?
Is anthropology on the table for a future major? It would be great. I know when I went to undergraduate college, we had some very interesting anthropology professors. I found it intriguing. I learned about Aborigines cultures and all sorts of folks. And why don't we consider that, Dr. Silva, when you do? If it doesn't happen, he's a problem. But just the fact you asked is awesome. But anthropology in a liberal arts school would be neat to have more of it and beef it up. We'll see how it works in the curriculum design and make sure that it adds value and people will come take the courses. Thank you. That's a good question, Jack. Any other good questions or comments? Yes.
Is the new dorm being built with future growth in mind? And then also, what's the parking situation going to be around that area?
Good question. I think we have it worked out that we don't tear up that parking till the day after commencement, or is it worked out yet?
March 20th.
March 20th. So we're going to have a little problem in the spring. Now the new parking, we have enough slots, but not enough real close by, right? That's the issue. So at some time soon, a couple things will have to happen. I don't know what will happen first. We'll put in a transportation system and start using parking at the velodrome and other places so you can just scoot about. Another thing that could happen, we'll get the election out of the way, we wouldn't mind putting a beautiful new baseball facility on public land, sharing it with the neighborhood kids in the summer, and then put parking right there. The third thing that we'll have to probably take a look at someday is a parking garage, but with so many needs on the table, I hate to pour that many millions in a parking garage. So that's really got me stumped. I wake up thinking about it sometimes. I just hate the thought of that. Now, when we build the new housing, we'll have a little excess housing, it appears, depending on how well our enrollment goes, and I know it'll go well this year. But we need some excess, and I'll tell you why. Some of my trustees stayed in Doyle Hall that are in their 60s, and they visited it the other day, and they said, "My, it looks just like when I was there." Now that concerns me. That's a lot of years. They thought maybe we had painted, but other than that, they weren't too sure. So we're going to need to try to get a little flex space so we can, throughout the year, keep rejuvenating that. So in the next couple of years, 3 years, we'd like better housing options. And then we'll also consider, as you know, we wouldn't mind having some housing down at LaRue Carter someday if we get a hold of it, which is our goal. and other places where we're looking. So good question. We'll have a few extra rooms, more than a few, for a little while, but that'll give us a chance to catch up, to remodel that. And we have to put some money in Claire too. I walked up there this summer. They were doing a lot of work, but that needs love. Good question. Another question? Or concern? Or ideas? Yes?
Is there going to be anything to help with the parking across 30th, getting those students across the road?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I pray a lot about that too. Getting students across the road on 30th. Deb, I believe you're working on it.
Yes, I am.
So that one would also be Deb Lawrence's problem. All successes belong squarely on my shoulders. Problems belong on others. We are, in a more serious note, we're working with the city, crosswalk flashing lights. We did study a bridge building thing. We were advised by their campuses, go ahead and build it, no one will use it. The students will look, say, boy, that's a lot of steps, and boom, across the street. So they said, basically, we were advised we'd be wasting our money. So we're going to have to encourage one another to be safe, though. I mean, it's not that much further to go up to the light, but I know what happens with young people are invincible. Even some of us older types are not always cautious. We should be. Maybe we should be good examples on that, because we're going to get some flashing lights there in a crosswalk, but if they could go up that light, it would be good for now. Okay? Encourage it, please. Any other questions? Yes?
What's the plan for LaRue Carter?
LaRue Carter, the federal government owns it, the state controls it. The state, I haven't caught my colleague up, found that there's some regulations they have to go through, so they'll do what they call requests for proposals. We like our chances to be the selection. We're going to have to work at it. And we had a donor give us a consultant, paid for a consultant. Deb's been really working hard on this, Deb Lawrence, a lot of you know her, about what could you do with it. And it looks like there could be some housing, graduate housing, market rate housing for people like my age-ish that want to be by a university close to downtown, look out over a river. We think it'd sell well. We think in the main building you could put some neat academic programs, possibly the two-year college, ethic. You could start, there's a theater in there, there's a lot of neat things in there. So we see great potential. There's around 30 acres of land. We see some parking there. It's right across the street from the seminary. So we're going to work really hard to get to that. And the state's going to start formulating the request for proposals. We'll be well prepared and work hard to get it. But we would have to do a lot of joint ventures there. That is a mammoth building. And so we're going to want some co-development with people that know how to make money. We're better at spending it. So we're going to put some developments in there that hopefully make the whole project work. So it's complex and it's a little out of our wheelhouse. It's been interesting. I'm learning a lot of new terms. But we'll work hard, yes?
As we look at expanding our graduate programs, where does the proposal for faculty and staff to be able to pursue graduate programs with tuition remission stand?
Yes. We're working hard on that. The question was, as we have graduate programs, how about faculty and staff? Can they get some tuition remission? We worked hard on it. We have a policy. Is Amy here, or do you remember it, Amy? What exactly did we decide?
It'll be in the next employee handbook, I believe, won't it?
It'll be in the next employee handbook. What's that? Thank Amy. Yeah, Amy did a good job on that. I won't take credit for your work there. Amy, we're going to make graduate programs available but you have to go to your supervisor, get approval, and you can only take so much at once, and there'll be tuition remission for that. It's not for your dependents, though, right? Right. So if you look at these like the doctoral leadership or other things, we're going to try to make sure our faculty and staff maybe want to get a new track of education or add on to if they don't have a master's or do. We're going to try to make that a benefit that really helps our folks grow in knowledge and skill. And we're excited about it because there's a lot of talent in the room that we'll be open to. We're working hard on some of our collaborators too to help them with tuition remission. Anything else? Yes, Deb?
Do you want to tell them about the party?
Yeah, you having a party?
We're having
At Deb's house.
in the lobby.
You're having a party in the lobby because we're going to celebrate retention, right?
Yes.
And we're not doing a new goal.
No.
So anytime I make a big talk or something, I'll go sit in the chapel and kind of pray. I asked the blessed man, don't have me set a new goal. I said, please don't let me do it. So I was fairly good. I was kind of in the middle. I mentioned it, but I didn't set a new goal. And we're going to go celebrate. This is wonderful that we have a very diverse population that comes in. This year's Pell Grant population in the first-time, full-time, what would you say it is between St. Joe and Marion traditional? What percent do you think we're at?
About a third.
About a third, which is very unusual in a public university, let alone a private one. I don't know. A very small percent would do that. Because then what you do is you're basically making a statement with your resources because you're putting a lot of folks and scholarship money in folks, which is great. By the way, at the same time, our GPAs and our SATs are holding strong and inching up. This is unusual. And it's really a credit to everybody in the room. So we're going to celebrate 83.3, okay? Thank you.